to put it on mine, but
that's cool. All right, let me we are live. And again, just want to thank you so much, Leon. I'm talking to Leon Stephenson III. Good friend of mine. Met Leon for the first time when he had moved to Memphis with a church plant that we were part of. And we all became really close. He moved here from, forget this right, North Carolina, correct?
Yep,
from North Carolina, but he's from the Massachusetts area, and that makes us both Patriot fans. So six times.
Go Pats.
6 times. And we're coming back. We made it to the big bowl this year, but that's okay. We wouldn't expect to even win a playoff game.
That's right.
So we made it much farther than we were expected to. So we really that's been good. And also Leon is a real estate agent also. So that's another thing that we have in common. So hey Leon, just tell us a little bit more about yourself, man. That I try to do as best I can, but you can do a better job than I can.
Yeah. Thank you. First of all, thanks for having me, Kino. So Leon Theodore Stephenson III, don't forget the third. Originally from the Boston area, moved to Charlotte about 12, 13 years ago from Cape Cod. And like Kino said, we met in between there where, my family and I made a decision to go to Memphis to help some friends start a church out there, a church plant. And that's where we had the pleasure of meeting Kino and Betsy and their family and a host of other families too. And just have kept in touch since and just, been good friends since. But yeah, diehard Boston fan, diehard Patriots fan, Red Sox, Bruins, Celtics, let's go. All things Boston. I've been a licensed realtor now for 6 years, licensed in North Carolina and South Carolina. I'm a realtor. Some people down south here, they like to call me a realtor. But it's 2 syllables. We have a hard time with them. I tell them when they say realtor, I'm like, you don't go to a doctor, do you? You go to a doc, and it is funny to me, because I hear realtors say realtor. Like, yeah. So so that's pretty much it about me, and love my wife, love my family, just a family guy, and glad to be on here today.
Okay, that's cool, man. Yeah, so I do this thing every Friday. I just had this idea one time. I was talking to Betsy. I'm like, I feel like people need information more than anything else, because I believe one of the things you can do for anybody is information. But my profession is a real estate agent, a realtor, but that's not who I am.
Exactly.
I am much more than that. That's just what I do to make money to feed my family. And when I started thinking of this live, I call it Fact Friday. Initially, it was supposed to ask questions about real estate and stuff. And when I did it the first time, that's all I did. And then I'm like, you know what? You can only tell people so much about real estate, but there's other things that I can probably help people to understand. So I've had a lot of people on here so far. I've had trainers, financial folks, and I'm gonna keep bringing a lot of different people. But one of the things that we don't talk about enough, and us men, as we get older, I'm about to be 55 years old this year. And as we get older, things change. And when we're young, we think we're invincible. And then we get older, we realize, well, we're really not that invincible.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to do this with you. And of course, we'll talk about a little bit of why we got to this point with you. But it is so important for us as men to not only pay attention to our health, but to do the things that can help us. For example, when we go to the doctor, what do we ask, and questions and so forth and so forth. So where are you in terms of how active are you, or active have you been, where you are now from maybe a few years ago when it comes to taking care of your health and getting those regular exams and stuff that we know we're supposed to, but sometimes we skip past them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So me and the doctors have had a love-hate relationship, right? Just like you said, Kino, us as men, us as African-American men, we have a stigma about doctors, right? And we have this machismo in us that initially will tell us, hey, when your wife says, "Hey, Keno, how you doing?" What do you say? "I'm fine. I'm fine." How you feeling? "I'm fine. I'm fine." I will find my wife to death. But there's times when we're not fine. And those are the times that we need to, one, voice it, and two, address it, right? So I say, honestly, my wife has saved my life 4 times. One, when she led me back to Christ when I was out there trying to be the best sinner I could be. And two would be, when we were on the Cape, I was having some problem with my vision and my eyes. It was just this crazy day, and she was like, "Babe, let me take you to the fire station," because then the fire station was taking your blood pressure for free or whatever. We didn't have a blood pressure cuff, so she takes me over to the fire station, and my blood pressure was like dang near 200 over 100 something. It was off. It was off the charts, and that led they called. It was just so happens that the fire department had a connection with somebody in the hospital, and he was like, "I'm sending this guy over right now. Can you take care of him?" And that just started a whole gamut of things. My triglycerides were like 1,400, 1,600, something crazy. My A1C was like 14, where it's supposed to be 6 or under. So I was diabetic. I was high cholesterol, and basically on the verge of dying. So that's when I started making some changes. The third time would have been 2 years ago. I was having what I thought was just anxiety or gas or something. Something was in my chest that, I felt like I had to crack my chest plate or kind of, step back or whatever. We go, it would come and then it would leave my body almost, and I could feel it. I could feel it when it left. Like it was just like when you on a roller coaster and you come down and you hit that like that. It felt like that. So go to the doctors. Fast forward. They put me on the machines. Nothing. They found nothing. As I was sitting in the emergency room, I stopped. Which they found nothing. They were getting ready to release me. That's why I say they found nothing. They were getting ready to release me. And as I was sitting there, I started having that same episode again. Now, the monitors behind me are going crazy. The nurses are going crazy. They're like, "Should we call it? Should we call it?" I'm like, "What do you mean call it? I'm not dying. I'm not dead." Like, and then this young doctor comes in. He kneels down beside the bed. He's like, "Sir, I don't mean to alarm you, but you're having a heart attack." Wow. And I'm like, and I'm talking to him like I'm talking to you right now. Like it didn't feel like a heart. We see Fred Sanford. Remember Fred Sanford? And, I'm coming to join you.
It's the big one.
Yes, the big one. It's the big one. It didn't feel like the big one. It didn't feel like anything. And next thing I know, he's like, "Well, we don't have a helicopter pad here." I'm like, "Hold on." I'm like, "How serious is this?" He said, "We have to get you to the cath lab." Wow. So I go to the cath lab. Ended up having a 99% blockage in one of my arteries. They were gracious. They put a stent in for me. So that was the third time. And here we are at the fourth time. This was last July. Again, I started having like a tightness in my chest. At the time, I was lifting heavy. So I thought, I'm fine. I'm fine. It's something that I can either work off in the gym or something that happened in the gym. It was just muscle. And, my wife being the angel that she is, she said, "Babe, you're a cardiac risk. You really need to go check it out." So we go check it out, and they did some tests, and, one of the tests came back, and, when you go to take your car to get an oil change, and they're like, "Well, you need brakes, you need windshield wipers, you need this and that." So they came back and said, "Well, we couldn't find what was initially you came in here for." They said, "But we did find a couple of spots on your liver." So now here we are, just in my head, and it was, what killed me the most was the waiting in between, right? After hearing that, then I had to wait to get another test, and then I had to wait to get the results from the test, and I had to wait to hear from the doctor, then I had to wait to get a biopsy. So it was like this. It seemed like an eternity to me, especially mentally. And a couple of weeks later, found out that I had what's called cholangiocarcinoma, which is cancer of the bile duct in the liver, very rare cancer. Of course, me being the overachiever that I am, very rare cancer. It's actually the same cancer Randy Moss has had.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, a couple weeks later, I'm getting a third of my liver removed, and here we are now. Last October, I started an 8-round battle with chemo. I did the chemo pills, not the injection, so I did the chemo pills, and just finished on Monday my last round. To God be the glory, and it was rough, but it was rough. It was rough, yeah. So. I started doing, and you followed me, and thank you for following me on my journey. But I started doing videos for myself at first because I needed a way to voice it, right? And then God put it on my heart. He's like, you need to get those out there. You need to put those out there. So I waited for a little bit out of respect for my wife. I didn't want her to get bombarded by people like, how's your husband? How's your husband? And then I just started putting my videos out. One for men, Black men, to listen to your wives. First of all, listen to your wives. They have that motherly instinct. Listen to your wife, spouse, girlfriend, whatever. They have that motherly instinct to know when something is wrong and when we need to address it. Two, I put it out there just to empower men to be transparent. Let's talk about these health issues, right? Let's talk about why we don't want to go to the doctors. Let's talk about it. And then you wouldn't, the response that I've gotten, the people that have reached out to me, one of my buddies was like, hey, thank you for putting that out there. He said, I suffered with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma for 2 years and didn't tell anybody. And that can be, rough. I know I'm still going through it now mentally in my head. It's kind of like just a mind game. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, my God bless you.
Thank you.
You need to go get that checked out. Yeah. So my intention was to just to reach out to people and to empower people. First of all, listen to your wives. Second of all, listen to your bodies, right? One of my good friends, she said it so well. She said, listen to your body's whispers before it screams. And that's what I'm trying to address with men to do.
Okay. Yeah. And cool. Absolutely, man. Listen, like I said, I do follow you on your journey. And when you do your videos, you call it Big G, Little C. God is bigger than the cancer. It's pretty much so that I do follow you and keep up to date and checking you. And we talk very frequent sometimes.
Yeah.
But definitely we're gonna keep praying for you. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I decided to call it Big G, Little C because we have a big God.
Yeah.
Right. And I wasn't gonna give the C word. I wasn't gonna give them that power over me.
Right.
So and it did. It took power over me, especially the first day that I got my diagnosis legit from my doctor when he called and told me exactly what it was. I had a pity party. I cried. I sat there and I cried. I cried with my wife. And it was just one of those things like, you hear that word, you hear that little C word, and we think it's a death sentence, so to speak. And, so I cried and had, my little pity party day, and then called my family and asked for prayer. And then the next day I called everybody that I called and I said, I'm good. And what I meant by that is I was good either way. I was good whether we get rid of this thing, or I was good if God takes me home. But it's definitely a mind thing that you have to adjust with. And it, like I said, it was the waiting in between that was the most the most aggravating part to me.
Yeah, that's cool. But again, it goes back to we have to listen to the people around us, especially in yours and mine case, our wives, because the same thing. Like now, usually when I go to the doctor and we talk about his other run, I'll go to the doctor and I'll do a physical, which again, we need to get our physical at least once a year. Make sure we do that get that checkup. It's get the checkup, man, because you never know. Catch it early. Early detection can mean a big difference between being here and move on. But now when I go to the last time I went to the doctor, Betsy gave me a list of questions to ask the doctor.
Yeah.
And I had to write down answers for when I come back home, because in the past, I go to the doctor and I come on, she'll be like, did you, what did the doctor say? Oh yeah, everything's okay. I'm good. What's your blood pressure? It's okay. What's the numbers?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
What is this? What is that? So us men, sometimes we are so good at just, if it's not really, really serious, we don't take it serious, put it that way.
True.
So that has changed in me, and it's because of Betsy, because I would have still go to the doctor and be like, no, when I go, I pay more attention to certain things. What's my blood pressure? What's my this? What my that? She'll say, have him check this, have him check that. So how has that stuff like that changed for you along the way as you get older, as your wives start? Because our wives sometimes is more, this is not a bad thing, but they are more concerned about our health than we are.
Yeah.
Because I'm good. I can walk, I can talk, I can sleep, I can do this.
I keep on ticking. I'll keep on ticking. Right.
Yeah.
So definitely the same with me. Again, I just turned 55 2 weeks ago. And
man, I did not know we were the same age.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
You look good, man. You look good.
Thanks. You do too.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I turned 55 a couple of weeks ago, and it's the same with me and my wife, right? We always joke with the doctors when we're going in, because she's always with me. Most of the time she's with me, and I'm like, when you get our age, this is what you have to do.
So far, not to cut you, but so far I've been able to avoid that one, but I'm pretty sure that's about to end.
But I love, it's coming. But I don't mind it, right? Because she's a nurse, first of all. So she's a translator. She's an advocate for me. She knows the questions to ask. And if we don't do it that way, I get a note just like you with some questions on it, or I have to either FaceTime her in or call her while we're in there, so she can make calls. Right. But, so with my medical oncologist, she's at Duke, which is in Raleigh, probably close to 3 hours away from us. So we do video calls, and I'll be here on the call, and Kristen will be right over here, and she's ask her if you just kind of telling me what to do. So when you get our age, I don't mind it. Again, because we will, like, what was your blood pressure? It was straight. What was your pulse ox? Oh, it was cool. I don't remember, but now we're at that point where she just comes with me at all of them, and that's the way we keep it not lost in translation, so to speak.
Yeah, and it's important because, like I said, they will ask questions that we would never think of asking, that we should ask. So for the men who, if you're listening, if you're in here, or you hear this anytime, if you're not married, but you have somebody that you trust, especially a female, because they just have a different eye for this stuff than we do. We go to the doctor say we're not going to die tomorrow, with our, we are good, then we're good. Right. We're not going to ask any questions. That's not cool. But while we're talking, I did a quick search on ChatGPT, and there's some stuff that came up, especially for Black men, because I don't know, whatever it is, but there's some things that we are more prone to than other races, for whatever the reason. I'm sure there's reasons why, but one of the things it says here, like, for example, prostate cancer is the number one threat for Black men. 44% of all cancers in Black men are prostate cancer. We are 1.8 more likely to be diagnosed, 2 times more likely to die. About 1 in 6 Black men develop prostate cancer in their lifetime. Now, I'm pretty sure that some of that has to do, and again, I'm not a medical doctor, some of that had to do is, when do we find out? How quick do we find out? Because again, not a doctor, but they would always tell you, whenever talk to anybody with cancer, the number one thing that can probably help you save your life is early detection. Exactly. The earlier you detect it, the more likely, the better your chances are. Obviously, we know God is greater than anything else. Mm-hmm. But aside from that, here on earth, the quicker you detect, the sooner you detect, the more the better your chances are. So those are some of the reasons why we definitely need to stay on track and get our exams and stuff every year.
And there are tests, right? There are tests, but we have to be proactive as well. I just happen to have a great primary care physician who is proactive. Like, he will find anything, almost to the point where I'm like, man, I don't need it anymore. He will find anything, and he's very proactive. And that's that's how we detect stuff early, right? We've got to get those annual physicals. We got to get that colonoscopy. I think they changed the colonoscopy age to like 40 or 45 now.
Yeah.
If you haven't had it, you have to get it. You know, you can nip this thing in the bud where, you know, and that's why I'm a firm believer that God put me in that hospital, you know, last year for something totally other, to find this cancer when we were at a small point where we could address it now, instead of I'm fine. And 9 years, you know, 5 or 6 years later from now I'm talking about a liver transplant, or, and it's crazy how God orchestrates the body, because your liver is actually broken into two pieces. You have a left liver and a right liver, and there's a major vein artery that comes down in between it. So my cancer lied on the left side of the liver. So instead of just going in and trying to dig around and trying to find clear margins, they actually took the whole left side of the liver. And again, God is good, because the right side, the liver, is the only organ that will kind of rejuvenate. It doesn't grow that back, but it'll grow on the right side to compensate for the lack of the left side.
Okay.
So now, if we were talking in the right side, they would have did either go in and try to get clear margins, or we were talking about a liver transplant. Early detection is great. There are scans that we can ask for. Sometimes you have to pay for them. Sometimes your insurance won't cover them. A PET scan will find cancers in you. I just had what's called a CT angiogram on Monday, and we haven't even talked about this, but again, being proactive, because I'm starting to have this feeling again that I had when I had my heart attack 2 years ago. Had the CT scan on Monday. Now, mind you, this is the day that I finished my chemo meds, so I'm excited. I'm happy.
Right.
And I get the results from my CT scan angiogram on Monday, saying that I have, where my stent is in my artery, the RCA, before the stent and after the stent, I have some blockage as well now. So we're talking about having a catheterization in 2 weeks, or within the next 2 weeks, to go back in and to look at it and to see if we need to put another stent in or whatever. So it's one of those things. We're at that age, man. We're at that age, and if we don't keep up on it, then it's I still got some things to do here. And God has been truly good to me. Through my wife, telling me to get these things done, and but it's daunting, because again, here I am on Monday, I'm this high because I'm off of these meds, and then 2 hours later I get this news, and it really put me into a funk, so to speak. Especially this over this week when she was gone away. So it's like, my best friend's gone. I can't share it with her other than through the phone. I can't even get a hug. And I was going through it this week. To be quite honest, to be vulnerable, I was going through it this week, and a little depressed set in, and so we've got to stay on our health, stay on it.
Absolutely. Something you mentioned a little while ago is that good thing you had a good primary care physician, and that is so important. I've been in Memphis since 1999, and I've had the same primary care physician since 1999. So he knows everything about me medically. And usually when we go, he'll sit down with me and we'll have a conversation. He knows what I do, what kind of work I do. He's always asked about my family, how I'm doing. So we've developed a really good personal relationship, obviously in the office. And so that's really important, to find somebody that you don't just go in and then you push you back out. But he's retiring. He retires at the end of this month. So now I have to go find myself another primary care physician. He did give me a referral. So I'm going to go talk to the guy he referred me to. But that is so important, because if your doctor knows you, your doctor feel like he can talk to you, feel like he can talk to your doctor, you've stand a better chance of getting better service, getting better care, because it's not a transaction. It becomes very personal. And I think most people, if they're in charge or responsible for somebody over a period of time, they are more likely to want to make sure you're okay than if they're just going to see you one time and then never see you again. So one of the things that us men should always do, make sure we have a primary care physician that is going to listen to us and know us and Just ask your questions. Make it personal. Make it a relationship. Like anything else, relationships are always better than transactions.
Yeah. So my primary care physician is he's awesome. He's awesome. It just like you said with yours retiring, it's almost like when your barber moves, right? You're like, how I gotta find another barber now? Like, you know, when I left Memphis, like it was like I gotta find another barber.
Yeah,
now.
I gotta. Yeah.
But yeah, so same thing happened. The same thing is actually happening with me. My primary care physician is leaving the company that he's with and just moving, and he's going to be moving about 25 minutes away. But I told him I'm going to be there, right? And one thing I suggest to you, Kino, too, is don't let your friendliness with your doctor kind of get in the way of you wanting to be proactive too, because that's what happened with me when we first moved down here. I had a doctor. She was great. She was great, but I had a 5 or 6, actually about 10 years, and it started to turn into one of those things where I was telling her what I needed. You know what I mean? I was telling her, maybe we should go up on these meds, or maybe we should go down on these meds, and
Right.
she wasn't being proactive. And then I met this other doctor, Dr. Booth, Jamaican guy, real great dude, and he is so proactive. I've actually referred, my wife goes there, my niece goes there, a couple of my good friends I've referred to him go there because he's awesome in that sense. So yeah, fellas, if you don't have a primary care physician, I suggest you get out there, you find one. Again, like Kino said, one that you can trust and is going to be an advocate for you. Find things in you that you might not want to be found, but you want them to be found.
Yeah.
So
Yep. So we've talked a lot about the medical side of it from a physical standpoint, but we also can't forget our mental part of it too. That especially I think this is even more hardest thing for us is taking of our mental health, finding good people to be around, good groups, good men that are going in the same direction as you. Like for me right now, I've never been as locked into a church as I am now, and it has been a big help. Definitely been a big help. I have this thing, and I post it on my social media sometimes. Every Thursday we have this thing called Men's Breakfast, and we go just men have breakfast. There's a cost to the breakfast, like $7, but there's a bunch of food. I don't always eat it because it's not always the healthiest, but when I eat it. But so we do have to work on our mental health. And you just mentioned that you were a little depressed when you got that news. That is something that a few years ago a man would never say. I'm feeling a little depressed.
Yeah.
And I remember back when Alex Rodriguez had mentioned that he used to go to a therapist when he played. I think when he played for for Texas, and people like ridiculed him, because again, that was unheard of, unspoken. You're a man. You're not supposed to be depressed. You're not supposed to have mental health. So it's important that we also take care of our mental health. I was talking to an agent the other day, and she said, I forget what the question was, but I'm like, yeah, I'm taking a day off. She's like, why? I'm like, I just need to be off. I don't need to work today. I'm going to take a day off. I need to clear my mind. I'll come back tomorrow.
Mental health days. Yep. Mental health days.
Yeah. Yep. So that's what I do. So talk about it. How do you manage something like that, especially going through what you've gone through, what you're now going through?
Yeah. So I had to rely on my family, right? As soon as I got the diagnosis, I call them my sisters. They're cousins, but they're like sisters to me. They were here within 3 or 4 days, just surrounding me with love. And you need that, right? It's just like we talked about your men's group. I have a men's group down here that is every first Tuesday of the month, where iron sharpens iron. We can be vulnerable, open, honest. Just man talk. Again, like you said, 10, 15 years ago, men weren't talking like this, and there's still men that don't talk like this, right? We have this machismo about us that, well, we're good. I don't want to tell anybody my problems. Like if anybody finds out my problems, they'll find out who I really am. And I just stopped that. You know, I keep it real. You know me. You know, we've known each other for years now. I keep it real. I keep it honest. Same with you. You know, and that's what we need. So I did. I leaned into a couple of my good friends. I leaned into my family. I did find that some people that I thought would be there for me weren't, which is okay.
Right.
Which is okay because you know, things like little C scare people, and you know, they don't know how to act. Like, you know, I went to grab my wife from her hairstylist a couple weeks ago, and I know her hairstylist when I was barbering or whatever. We were in the same loft building together, and you know, she goes over to my wife. She's like, "Can I give him a hug?" You know, like she didn't know what to do, and she was like, can I tell him I love him? And it's just like, you know, there's nothing wrong. You know, there's nothing wrong with me, but people just don't know how to react to things. So, you know, I did find a couple of my friends that I thought, and rightfully so, I told them about it. You know what I mean? That's another thing I'm going to do. You know what I mean? If you was like, hey, Keno, man, I thought, I went through this thing, man. I thought you would have been there for me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, one of my good buddies, man, he was like, man, I'm so glad you told me that, because he was feeling God had put it on his heart, because you know how we say sometimes, I'll pray for you.
Yeah.
And then how many times do we not?
Right.
You know what I mean? How many times do we forget? And he was saying how God was putting on his heart to be mindful of when something like that happens, to pray, to do it right then. Like, I was in the hospital. My dad, biological father, was in the hospital, and there was a guy, he was just crying his eyes out. And I didn't know why. And we kind of gathered around him. I just said, let me pray for you, and just prayed over him right there. His wife was actually in the ICU right beside my pops, and she was dying. But, instead of saying, I'm going to pray for you, because I actually heard some ladies before I stepped in the circle, they were like, I'm going to pray for you. And I'm like, let's pray for him now. Let's pray for him now. So,
right.
So yeah, just, surrounding yourself with a good group of people, man. Good group of men. We need some men talk. We need some men talk.
Absolutely. And man, I'm gonna disappoint you now, because I did promise you and I did not do it, but I am going to do it now. I have to do it. I am going to start my group. Because again, I had the idea a long time ago. Then I saw you post your pictures of you and your men's group and stuff, and you talked to me about it and how it started like a little itty bitty thing. Now it's spread, because really and truly, we are expected. I forget the guy, Dax, and I forget his name. He's the black guy. He used to sing country music. He was with I forget his name, but they did this song, and it pretty much talk about how men are expected to just take it and never say what's going on, never say how you feel. I love the song, but it is so true that who do we talk to? Everybody talk to us.
Is it
we listen to, huh?
Is it Hootie from Hootie and the Blowfish?
Yeah. That song.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever heard it before, but I love the song. I mean, I listen to it sometimes when I'm working out. I listen to it, and I know I can bring a tear to my eye, because it's a good, because we expected, especially the head of our household, they should always come to us and have, be able to talk to us and lay it down on us and give it to us. Sometimes we can't take it. Sometimes we do need people to talk to, and I need to do that for myself too. I need to find sometimes more people that are closer that I can talk to about stuff. I do have a good friend of mine that I do talk to, but it's so important that we do find people, and we got to be careful that we don't talk to people who are just gonna tell us yes.
Right.
We want somebody that's gonna push back on us sometime, be like, no, man, no. Because that's if you talk to somebody, they're always telling you yes. It's like, it's like they say ChatGPT, for example, it will always tell you good things.
Right.
It's not gonna tell you the bad things. It's always like, there was a thing the other day, and this is totally off the topic. Some girl went on ChatGPT talking about, I think a guy gonna kill herself, and ChatGPT, she asked, should I tell somebody about it? She's like, no, you don't tell anybody anything about it. So basically, you want to talk to somebody who'll actually give you pushback and give you real advice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just a good group of men. It's almost like you've coached teams before. It's almost like coaching, right? You need you need, the head coach, and then you need that that strong coach that he might cuss and swear, but then you have that other coach that will calm the kids down, and he takes like a big brotherly kind of role towards it. But they all make a great team, right? They all make this great team that they put together. And yeah, I don't do too well with yes men. They always seem like they got an ulterior motive or something. So
yeah, that is true. Somebody else gonna tell you you're great and never tell you the bad things too. Then you're not gonna grow. You're not gonna grow. So
and we just need that. So even my shirt. I don't know if you see my shirt.
Be the man you needed when you were young. That is, yep, definitely.
Be the man that you needed when you were younger. And this is a good friend of mine. His clothing line. He's got a great podcast called God's Glory and Men's Real Stories, and I'll be featured on it. I think this month. I did an interview with him last month. So yeah, just getting around people like that. People that are going to pour into you. People that will listen to you. I was blessed that my men's group. They actually gave me just a monetary blessing for what I was going through, which I never expected. Right. And even what blessed me more than the monetary blessing was the gentleman that leads it. He's a big, I don't want to say star, but he's a big figure in Charlotte. His name's Fly Tie. He's a barber. He hosts Hornets games and the ACC tournament, stuff like that. And him and his wife started a couple of groups, and he started this men's group. But what blessed me more than the monetary was, man, this dude wrote me a 3-page long note. When have you ever seen that? Right? I'm talking like, when you pull out the notebook and it still has the riffle papers on it.
Yeah.
A legit 3-page long note, which meant the world to me, first of all. And then the words that were in it were just, it would have me tearing up if I even read it. But so just to be around people like that, that I know got my back and got my front and can lift me up and can smack me down when I need to get smacked down.
Right. That's cool, man. Yeah, listen. Man, thank you so much. Any last words, any other last advice you'd like to give to anybody who's watching, or any man who might see this later on when I put clips or whatever it is, that hopefully we can help somebody to know that, hey, you got to take care of yourself.
Yeah. I guess grand scheme of things, like I said, one, fellas, listen to your spouse, your wife, your girlfriend, your significant other, whatever. Listen to them when they give you the prompting to go see a doctor or go get that checkup. 2, again, like I said, listen to your body's whispers before it screams, right? We have these little things that we kind of brush off in us. And like I said, I was feeling, it didn't feel like a heart attack to me, and not at all. It felt like it was indigestion or something like that. And I've had people say they've had the same thing. And one of my guys from back home, he was feeling the same way, came down to go to work. They found him dead, tying his shoes, like he was actually having a heart attack. And, we've got to just not brush these things off and be, these machismo warriors. 3, just be an advocate for yourself, take care of what you got. If we can detect things early, we can save a whole lot of people. Like, like I said, there's testing, there's a PET scan if you're looking to see if you have cancer. There's a CT, what's it called? CT angiogram, which will show your arteries in your heart, because there's a lot of heart testing, but there's not a lot of tests that show the arteries in your heart. There's specific tests that show that. And this is what's killing us. It's what's called the widowmaker. When we have a blockage, which I had a 99% blockage in my artery. I was minutes, seconds, months, weeks away from having a massive coronary episode, and not knowing it, walking around like everything was fine. And there's things that we can do too. There's foods that we can eat. There's medication that we can take, but let's get in there. Let's get those tests done. Let's get that colonoscopy. Let's get that, yearly physical. We need you around, fellas. Your families need you. Your kids need you. Your wife needs you. Your spouse needs you. We need you.
Yep. I'll tell you something before we go that actually happened to me a few years ago that kind of being transparent. I was home, I was on the phone with a friend of mine, my best friend actually from St. Martin. His name is Edgardo. And I just felt like the left side of my face didn't feel right. I'm like, and you know that's usually stroke talk and stuff, whatever. But I'm like, buddy, the left side of my face doesn't feel good. I'm going to the doctor. And I didn't have insurance at that time because I had just switched from cars to real estate. And I didn't have insurance at that time. And I'm like, I'm going to just go to the emergency room, which is where you go when you don't have insurance. That's a whole nother story in America. But I went and they checked me in and stuff. I spent like 2, maybe 3 days in the hospital, but I didn't have a stroke. But from that, I had high blood pressure. Leon, I've been healthy, doing healthy things all my life. I work out, I eat right. I do, I've been always health was the one thing I always stressed. How do I get high blood pressure? It get to the point where I was getting high blood pressure, taking high blood pressure medicine because I was like mentally, it was just messing me up. And I said, I should have never gone to the doctor because I ended up getting a big old bill, and I didn't have a stroke, but I got a big old bill. But
that gave you a stroke afterwards.
But I look back, that alone gave me. But I look back and I'm like, but I would have never known that I had high blood pressure, which is a silent killer.
Silent killer, yeah.
So because of that I went for something else, but God put it that I had to go there. And not only that, here's go back to your wife. As we were leaving, Betsy said to the doctor, his blood pressure look a little high. And they're like, oh yeah. We might need to do something with that. They were gonna send me out the hospital without high blood pressure medicine. And she saw that and she said that, and then they gave me the blood pressure medicine. And then it has been a mental struggle for me for a long time. Like Betsy, like you take your medicine. I'm like, yeah, but I get high blood pressure taking my high blood pressure medicine. Because mentally I couldn't, I wasn't able to prepare myself for the fact that I eat right, I work out, I get up early and work out. I do all the things that they say you're supposed to do, but I still had it. I found out from a doctor that high blood pressure could be hereditary. Did not know that.
And two things I want to hit on that you touched real quick. There is a healthcare problem in America. It's not even healthcare; it's sick care, right? We're just taking care of the sick instead of making them healthy.
Yeah.
And that is one of the big issues, again, that Black men, brown men, not so wealthy men, that they have is that bill, right? I've got medications like this, the chemo meds. If I had to pay those without insurance, it would have been like $1,000 for 30 pills, something crazy. Like I would have not taken them.
Right.
I would have not taken them. And then, gosh, you said something else that I just wanted to hit on too. And I just lost my train of thought. See, 55. Welcome to 55. This is what you got to look forward to in a couple months.
It happens to me sometimes, which is like, look, as you're talking, I'm making little notes. And
I should have. I had it on the tip of my tongue. You were. I'm sorry. I lost.
That's okay. That's okay. But again, thank you very much. And for anybody who might have checked in, or if you see this anytime, please take care of your health. I had a friend once. He said to me, "Why you doing all this working out and stuff? Well, gonna die." I'm like, "That's not the problem. The problem is if I live." Right. The problem is if I live, because we're gonna die. That's true. But if I live, what if I live long? I don't want to live long. And if I have anything to say about it, I want to be able to, God bless me, one of these are the grandkids I can go outside and play with them or whatever. I got my son who's in the military now. Before he left, he used to always be, "You can't beat me, bro. I'm still stronger than you." I know he's gonna come back, and that's about to change.
I know what I was getting ready to talk about was, you said, goodness, I just keep getting this brain fog.
It's okay.
You said, that's crazy.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's crazy.
All right, man. Well, listen,
I blame it on
We
the meds have done some damage to me all around.
right.
Yeah.
It's okay, man. Hey, listen, Betsy and I, we're gonna keep you in our prayers, and we don't say that just to say that is something we definitely do. And we're gonna be, like you said, in 5 years, we're gonna be getting that call from you that you're cancer free.
Yes, sir. Receiving it and believing it.
Yep. And any other thing with your blockage and stuff, we're gonna pray that it's all cleared out. As a matter of fact, if you're okay, like you said, let's pray about it now. What do you say?
Yes, sir.
All right. So Heavenly Father, we thank you for this great opportunity for me and Leon to just talk here virtually. And you know our health, you know what's going on with us. And Leon shared a lot with us today. His cancer, his heart attack, his the blockage that he has right now. We're gonna pray that you would clear it all up right now, miraculously, dear God. And you will keep reminding us men, especially, not only men, but everybody, but us men, as this conversation is about us, that we don't need to take our health for granted, because this is the one body you're giving us. And until we come to see you, we're not going to have another one. And we don't know what that one's going to look like yet, but we pray and ask that you help us, keep reminding us to take care of our health, to do all the things that you request of us so that we can be able to carry your word and to glorify you, because it is a whole lot easier to do when we're healthy,
yes,
than if we lay up in bed. And we know that. So we thank you, we bless you. Thank you for this conversation. And bless Leon's wife, bless his family. And hopefully one of these days we'll get to go see a Patriots game together. We thank you, we bless you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And then I just so one thing you said that the doctor said, and I have a hard time with this with doctors. You said that the doctor said it's hereditary. I kind of beg to differ with that. Like the thing that's hereditary to me is we eat like our parents ate, right? Therefore, we have the things that our parents had. You know what I mean? We eat like our family has showed us to eat over the years. Therefore, we continue to have these patterns of diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, because that's what they're doing. So I just wanted to touch on that. But let's fix your diets, eat the good stuff, get your medication, get your checkups. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, man.
Listen, man, have a wonderful weekend. And I am here. If you need anything, please reach out. And yeah, tell Rob I say hello too. I haven't talked to Rob in a long time.
Will do. Love you, bro.
Hey, love you, man.
All right. Go Pats.
All right. Go Pats. Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, so yeah, that was a really, really good conversation. Didn't expect it to last this long. It could have gone longer. Obviously, you want to be respectful of people's time. And Leon, like I said, I've known Leon for a long time. It's been over 10 years, because I know the church has been planted over 10 years. So that much I can tell you. And he's always been a good guy. He's a barber by trade as well, and also a real estate agent. And hopefully somebody got something from this. Don't neglect your health, man. Don't do it. I've done it. We've all done it. But take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Your family will be happy. Your family will thank you for it. You will thank you for it. All right. So next week, not sure what's on the table next week. I think I have a guest in mind that I'm gonna try and get on next week. Again, I will always try and bring information. Again, like I'm gonna say, real estate is what I do to make money, to make a living, so I can take care of my family. But I am not. That's not who I am as a person. I'm way bigger than that. So I'm gonna use this to hopefully provide some information to folks that can help you in the other parts of your life. Sometimes we'll talk about real estate, other time we'll talk about men's health, other time we'll talk about finances. And again, finance is a big thing. So you're going to see a lot of financial things coming down the pipeline, talking to different financial people that I trust, people that I think give you good advice. So once again, thank you guys so much. And everybody who checked in, thank you. Hey, Jonathan, Thank you for checking in. I really appreciate it. Hope the wife and the kids are all doing well. And Derek, skinny Derek, it's been a while. Janelle, Magnum, everybody, thank you all for checking in. And of course, my wife Betsy, she always on here. Jace too, that's Betsy's sister. That's John. For I love you all. And Randall, Randy, and my kids are still mad at you for selling that house, just so you know. So yeah, thank you guys very much. I appreciate it, and I will put out on social media who my next guest is and what we'll be talking about. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Find something fun to do wherever you are. If you're here in Memphis, find something fun to do this weekend. There's a lot of great things to do, and a lot of free things. You don't have to spend any money. You know, there's a lot of free things you can do and still keep your money in your pocket. For example, I'm gonna have a date night tonight, and we're gonna be spending very little because we're going to Shelby Farms. Don't come out there to harass me. I'm gonna be signing no autographs. I'm just joking. Bye, folks. Love you all. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.